Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt lighter, as though the air itself was smiling at you? Or maybe stepped into another space and felt an unexplainable heaviness, like something unseen was holding you back. In this video, we'll explore how to create a positive work environment, using the principles of Vastu Shastra to attract success, peace, and growth. We often think success is only about effort, about strategy, about how hard we work. But what if the space around us, the very walls, the colors, the placement of objects, was silently shaping our journey? This is where Vastu Shastra whispers its wisdom, not as superstition, but as a language of energy. The unseen architecture of positivity. When energy flows freely, so does creativity, opportunity, and peace. But when it gets blocked, even the best of efforts feel like swimming against the tide. In this book, we'll explore how to create a positive work environment, one that doesn't just look beautiful, but feels alive. A space that supports your growth, attracts success, and keeps your spirit balanced, even in the middle of chaos. Together, we'll talk about placement, light, colors, direction, sound, and intention, but more importantly, we'll talk about the energy that connects it all, the energy that connects you to your space. So take a slow breath. Look around the room you're in right now and ask yourself, does this space lift me or does it tire me? Because the truth is, your environment isn't just where you live, it's what you live in. If that thought stirs something inside you, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Welcome to this journey of transformation, where design meets energy and energy meets life. And before we begin, if you believe in creating spaces that breathe positivity, make sure you subscribe, because every chapter is a step toward a more balanced, beautiful, and fulfilling life. Introduction. There's a silent force shaping our lives every single day, though most of us pass by it without even noticing. It is not always our skills, nor our routines, nor even our relentless persistence that hold the greatest influence over our growth. Instead, it is something subtler, quieter, but deeply powerful. The energy of the spaces we inhabit. Your office, your desk, the walls that surround you, the colors you see when you open your eyes each morning, even the objects resting silently in corners you no longer pay attention to. They all speak, though not in words. They whisper to your mind, to your body, to your spirit. Some encourage you forward, fueling focus, clarity, and opportunity. Others drain you slowly, leaving you restless, distracted, or strangely stagnant, even in the midst of effort. This book is about learning to listen to that silent conversation. It is about awakening to the truth that your environment is not just a backdrop to your life, but an active participant in it. By aligning your surroundings with the principles of harmony, balance, and flow, you can create conditions where success feels less like a battle and more like a natural unfolding. Ancient traditions such as Vastu Shastra understood this deeply. Thousands of years ago, they mapped how directions, placements, and elements interact with human energy. They believe that when our spaces are in harmony with the natural world, growth follows with less resistance. Modern psychology, too, echoes this wisdom in its own language, showing how light, color, organization, and atmosphere influence focus, mood, and performance. This is not about superstition, nor about decorating for appearances. It is about energy, real, tangible energy that shapes the way we think, work, and grow. In the chapters ahead, you will discover how something as simple as the way you sit at your desk, the position of a doorway, the presence of natural light, or the choice of a wall, color can subtly yet powerfully shift your path. You will meet stories of people who struggled despite their best efforts, only to find breakthroughs when they changed not themselves, but the space around them. And as you read, you may begin to feel differently about your own surroundings. You may glance at your desk with new eyes, sensing whether it supports you or hinders you. You may pause in a room that feels heavy and wonder what unseen patterns are at play. Most importantly, you may begin to realize that growth does not have to feel like constant struggle. When energy flows, when your environment aligns with your intention, even small actions ripple into greater results. This is an invitation to reimagine the place where you work, not just as for walls and furniture, but as a living partner in your journey. To see your workspace as a mirror of your inner world, a reflection of your aspirations, a stage where invisible forces either hinder or uplift your story. Together, we will walk gently through the wisdom of Vastu, the psychology of colors and placement, the stories of transformation, and the rituals that restore balance. My hope is not only that you will find practical guidance here, but also that you will feel a deeper connection to your own space, and through it, to the growth you've been striving for. So, let us begin not with the noise of effort alone, but with the quiet power of harmony. Chapter 1. The Question of Why. Have you ever wondered why? Despite giving everything you have, pouring your heart and soul into your work, progress sometimes feels painfully slow, as if life itself has conspired to place invisible barriers in your path. You wake up early, you follow routines, you put in the effort, and yet the growth you desire remains just out of reach. It can feel unfair, almost like trying to climb a hill with the wind pushing relentlessly against you. We are taught from a young age that hard work is the key to success, that persistence opens doors, that if you keep trying, eventually you will break through. And while that is true in many ways, there is something else at play, something most people never pause to consider. The environment in which you live and work is not a silent backdrop. It is an active force, shaping your energy, your thoughts, your opportunities, even the way others perceive you. Think for a moment about a time you entered a room that felt heavy, almost suffocating, for no obvious reason. Nothing looked wrong. The furniture was in place. The floor was clean. But the air itself felt thick, as though the walls carried stories of stress, arguments, or exhaustion. Now recall a different experience, walking into a space that immediately lifted you, where sunlight streamed through windows, where colors soothed your eyes, where you felt welcome without anyone even speaking. Those subtle impressions were not random. They were energy. They were vibration. And they were speaking to you. The truth is, we are constantly in dialogue with our surroundings. Your desk, your chair, the direction you face, the art on your walls, even the clutter you pretend not to notice. All of these are participants in your daily story. They whisper to your subconscious, either supporting you or weighing you down. When you try your hardest and still feel stuck, it may not be your effort that is lacking. It may be your environment that is out of alignment. Ancient traditions understood this deeply. Vastu Shastra, a timeless Indian science of architecture and placement, taught that the way a space is designed and the way objects are arranged can either invite prosperity and clarity or create obstacles that no amount of hard work alone can overcome. Vastu is not superstition. At its core, it is about harmony, aligning human life with natural forces, ensuring that the flow of energy supports growth rather than blocks it. When I first encountered these ideas, I was skeptical. Like most people, I believed results came from discipline, planning, and sheer determination. But life has a way of teaching through experience. I met people who seemed brilliant, tireless, committed, yet their careers stalled. Their businesses faltered. Their relationships grew strained. And then, with the simplest shifts, moving a desk, changing a wall color, opening a window, introducing a plant, something changed. Opportunities returned, clients arrived, tensions dissolved. Growth felt natural again, as if the current of life had finally turned in their favor. Of course, it would be foolish to say that rearranging your desk or painting your walls is a magic solution. Hard work still matters. Strategy still matters. But imagine rowing a boat against the tide compared to rowing with the current. The difference is not in your strength, but in the direction of flow. Vastu and energy awareness are about shifting the current, aligning your efforts with forces that are already present, but often unnoticed. So let me ask you once more. What if the reason you feel stuck is not because you are not enough, but because your space is quietly working against you? What if success is not only about what you do, but also about where you do it? What if the walls around you, the desk beneath your hands, the colors that surround your eyes, hold the key to a breakthrough you have been waiting for? This book is an invitation to explore those questions, to see your environment not as a background, but as a partner. As we walk through these chapters together, I will share the wisdom of Vastu Shastra, the psychology of color and placement, the stories of transformation that prove how spaces can shift lives. My hope is not only to give you practical guidance on arranging your environment, but also to help you feel more connected to the invisible yet powerful energy that surrounds you every day. For in the end, success is not just effort alone. It is harmony. It is alignment. It is the gentle merging of your intention with the energy of the space you inhabit. And when that harmony is found, the same work that once felt like a struggle suddenly feels effortless, natural, flowing. The hill becomes less steep, the wind less harsh, the path less lonely. And so, before we begin this journey together, pause for a moment. Look around you, noticing without judgment. Simply ask yourself, is this space lifting me up, or is it holding me down? The answer you feel, even in silence, will be the first step toward transformation. Chapter 2. The energy of spaces. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt lighter, as though a hidden weight you didn't even know you carried suddenly lifted from your shoulders? Perhaps it was a friend's home, where sunlight spilled across the floor and laughter seemed to echo even in silence. Or maybe it was a library, where the hush of the atmosphere brought an unexpected calm, inviting your mind to focus with ease. Now think of the opposite. Have you entered a place that felt suffocating, though nothing seemed obviously wrong? The furniture was in place, the floor was swept, but somehow the air felt heavy, as if time itself dragged slower within those walls. If you have ever felt this, you've already experienced what I call the energy of spaces. Every environment carries an invisible fingerprint. We may not see it, but we feel it in the way our body reacts, in the way our thoughts flow, in the way our emotions shift without conscious reason. This is not magic, nor is it imagination. It is energy. Science recognizes it as atmosphere. Psychology names it environment. And ancient wisdoms like Vastu Shastra call it prana, the life force that flows through spaces just as it flows through us. When you sit down to work in a place that feels aligned, your focus sharpens, distractions fall away, and tasks that once felt heavy seem lighter. Opportunities feel easier to notice, creativity surfaces naturally, and even your conversations with others take on a smoother rhythm. Yet when you try to work in a space that drains energy, you might find yourself restless, unfocused, or strangely unlucky, no matter how much effort you apply. This is why two people with equal skill and discipline may produce entirely different results, because one is rowing with the current of energy, while the other struggles against it. I once knew a young entrepreneur, let's call her Ash, who was brilliant, disciplined, and deeply committed to her small design studio. She had the skills, the passion, and the drive, but her growth was painfully slow, and she couldn't understand why clients hesitated, why opportunities slipped away, why her energy was constantly depleted. When I visited her workspace, the reason became clear. Her desk was pushed against a wall with her back to the door, creating a subconscious sense of being cornered, vulnerable to whatever entered behind her. A heavy shelf above her head gave the feeling of being crushed, even when she wasn't aware of Italiano, and the colors around her were dull, muted, robbing the room of vitality. With a few changes moving her desk so she faced the entrance, clearing the oppressive shelf, adding a touch of warm color and natural light, the space transformed. 18 months. She noticed not just a shift in her mood, but in her business itself. Clients flowed in with less resistance, her confidence returned, and growth felt natural again. She hadn't changed her skills, her effort, or her strategy. She changed her space, and the space, in turn, changed her life. Stories like Asha's are reminders that energy is not abstract. It is real. It is felt, and when harnessed with care, it becomes an ally in our journey. Think about your own space for a moment. The desk where you spend your days, the walls that frame your hours, the light that greets you in the morning. What story are they telling your mind, even in silence? Do they whisper encouragement, or do they quietly weigh you down? If as you're reading this, you sense something shifting in your awareness, pause. Take note of what calls to you. Sometimes it's as simple as moving an object, sometimes as deep as rethinking the energy flow of the entire room. But every step matters. And if this thought resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you care about. You never know how a small awareness might open a door in their life, just as it may be opening one in yours. The beauty of Vastu and energy awareness is that it doesn't require blind belief. You don't have to accept it as theory. You can feel it in practice. Change one thing in your environment and notice how you feel. Introduce a plant. Open a window, clear a pile of clutter. Shift the direction of your chair. Watch how your body responds, how your focus changes, how even your conversations with others shift in tone. The proof is not in philosophy but in experience. When people ask me if these changes really work, I always say, don't take my word for it. Try it. Experiment with your space as if it were a living partner in your growth. Treat it not as four walls, but as a mirror of your energy, and see what reflection stares back at you. And if this message stirs something in you, if you feel this truth deep in your own experience, I invite you to stay connected. Like, subscribe, and share this wisdom so that more people can awaken to the power of their spaces. Sometimes, what we most need is not more effort, but a gentle reminder that alignment makes the journey lighter for everyone. In the chapters to come, we will explore how directions hold energy, how colors influence emotions, how the simplest of placements, a chair turned, a desk moved, a door opened, can create ripples of change. But for now, let this awareness settle in your heart. Your space is alive, and it is speaking. The only question is, are you listening? Chapter 3. Ancient Wisdom for Modern Work. When we think of wisdom from thousands of years ago, it is easy to imagine something outdated, a relic of the past, with little relevance to our busy modern lives. After all, the world has changed. We no longer live in palaces surrounded by courtyards, nor do we measure the heavens to decide when to plant our crops. Yet, if you pause and look deeper, you may notice that while technology has changed, the human heart has not. We still seek clarity, prosperity, health, and peace, and the spaces we inhabit still influence those very desires. Vastu Shastra, often called the science of architecture, was never merely about walls and ceilings. It was about alignment. It asked questions we rarely stop to ask today. How does the direction of the rising sun affect the way we think? What happens when the entrance to a home or workplace invites energy in or blocks it at the threshold? Why does sitting in a particular orientation bring confidence, while another leaves us feeling restless? These were not just philosophical questions. They were practical, tested over centuries, observed in the patterns of life itself. Think of it this way. If you've ever felt different in a room filled with sunlight compared to one closed off in shadow, you already understand Vastu in its simplest form. If you've noticed how a cluttered desk makes your mind scatter, while a clear space brings calm focus, you are already living its truth. Vastu simply gives language and structure to these invisible influences, guiding us to design spaces that support, rather than hinder, our growth. Let me share with you the story of Raj, a man whose office stood as a symbol of everything he hoped to achieve. He had polished furniture, expensive artwork, the latest gadgets. And yet, no matter what he tried, his business struggled. When I visited him, I noticed something curious. His main entrance was narrow and cluttered. The first thing one encountered upon stepping in was a heavy filing cabinet blocking the flow. The energy, instead of entering freely, seemed trapped, redirected back out before it could nourish the space. His desk faced a blank wall, leaving him cut off from the natural flow of ideas. When we gently rearranged his space, clearing the entrance, allowing openness at the threshold, shifting his desk so he faced the east, where morning light carried freshness and clarity, something remarkable happened. Within weeks, his mood lifted. His employees noticed he was more approachable. Clients who had drifted away began returning, and slowly, business revived. Did the furniture itself cause the change? Perhaps not directly, but by aligning his space with natural flow, his mind found ease, his energy expanded, and life responded in kind. This is what Vastu offers, not superstition, but an awareness of harmony. In the modern world, we often underestimate how much our environment affects us. We focus on productivity hacks, motivational quotes, or financial strategies, yet overlook the very container that holds our daily actions. Vastu reminds us that without alignment, effort feels like struggle, but with alignment, even challenges feel lighter, more manageable, more good. You don't need to memorize ancient scriptures or follow rigid rituals to benefit from this wisdom. All you need is openness, the willingness to look at your space with fresh eyes, to notice how it makes you feel, To trust that your environment is not passive, but active in shaping your life. The desk you choose, the direction you face, the way air and light flow through your room. These are not small details. They are the silent partners of your growth. And here's something beautiful. Once you begin to see your environment as energy, you cannot unsee it. Every space becomes a story waiting to be read. The office that feels vibrant. The cafe where ideas spark. The corner of your home that draws you back when you need peace. All of them begin to make sense. You realize that alignment has always been there, whispering, waiting for you to notice. If these words resonate, if you can feel this truth in your own experience, pause for a moment. Look around right now. Ask yourself, does this space welcome life in, or does it block it? Do I feel nourished here, or diminished? The answer may surprise you. And if it does, share this insight with someone close to you. Sometimes, one conversation, one spark of awareness, can ripple outward and change the way another sees their world. Remember, Vastu is not about changing everything overnight. It is about gentle shifts, subtle alignments, steady harmonies. And as you walk further into these chapters with me, you will discover that these shifts are not only possible, they are powerful. So, if you haven't already, stay with me. Like, subscribe, and share this journey. Because the wisdom we explore here is not meant to stay on the page. It is meant to be lived, felt, experienced. Together, we will uncover how ancient wisdom can guide modern work, and how your own space can become the ally you never knew you needed. Chapter 4, North, South, East, West, the energy channels. Have you ever noticed how standing in the morning sun feels different from standing in the fading light of evening? The same world, the same sky, yet the quality of energy shifts with direction and time. Our ancestors noticed this too, not with instruments or data sheets, but with the quiet observation of daily life. And from those observations grew a deep understanding that directions are not empty. They are channels of energy, each carrying its own essence, each influencing the way we feel, think, and act. In Vastu Shastra, directions are more than compass points. They are living forces. The East welcomes the rising sun, carrying freshness, clarity, and new beginnings. The West embraces closure, reflection, and rest. The North whispers of growth, abundance, and opportunity, while the South speaks of grounding, stability, and endurance. To align with these directions is to align with the very rhythm of life itself. Let me tell you about a young man named Vic. He worked tirelessly from his home office, yet felt constantly drained, unable to focus for long, his efforts scattering like dry leaves in the wind. When I visited, I noticed he faced the southwest corner, his back to the light, his eyes fixed on a heavy wall. It was no wonder he felt stuck. He had unknowingly positioned himself against the natural flow of vitality. With a simple shift, turning his desk toward the east, where morning light gently entered, his energy transformed. He no longer dragged himself through the day. Instead, he felt lifted, renewed, even joyful in his work. And soon, so did his results. Of course, this is not about rigid rules, but about resonance. Facing east may not be possible for everyone, and that is fine. What matters is awareness. When you align yourself with directions that support you, your work feels carried by the current, not forced against it. When you resist those flows, life feels heavier than it needs to be. Think of the North as a friend of opportunity. In many traditions, wealth and resources are linked with this direction, as if it carries the breath of expansion. That is why entrances facing north or east are often considered auspicious. They welcome in openness rather than closing it off. The South, by contrast, is strong and stable, like the roots of a tree. Too much of it may feel heavy, but in balance, it grounds you, reminding you of discipline and endurance. The West is a place of endings, of looking back, of learning from the day. It is not a direction of beginnings, but of closure. Now pause and consider your own space. Which way do you face when you work? What do you see when you lift your eyes from your desk? Are you looking toward openness, or toward a wall that blocks your vision? Does the light enter from behind you, or does it shine on your path ahead? These are not small details. They shape the way your mind unfolds thoughts, the way your body holds energy, the way your spirit greets the day. One of the simplest exercises you can try is to spend time in different corners of your home or office, facing different directions. Notice how your body feels. Notice how your mind responds. You may be surprised to discover that one orientation feels lighter, another more focused, another more restless. This is the energy of direction speaking to you. No book, no teacher, no tradition can reveal it more clearly than your own experience. If you find value in this awareness, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you love, because the way we sit, the way we face, the way we receive the light of the world affects not only us, but everyone connected to us. And if you wish to stay connected with this journey, like, subscribe, and spread this message, for positivity grows when shared, and sometimes the smallest change in direction can inspire someone else's breakthrough. The ancients may not have had laptops or smartphones, but they understood something timeless, that life flows in patterns, and directions are the invisible rivers guiding that flow. By aligning ourselves with these rivers, we are not giving up control. We are simply choosing to work with life, not against it. So the next time you feel stuck, pause, look around, ask yourself, which way am I facing? Am I opening myself to clarity, or am I turned away from it? That simple question may hold more power than you realize. Chapter 5, The Desk as a Mirror. If you want to know the state of someone's mind, you don't always need to ask them. You can often see it reflected in the space where they work, especially on their desk. A desk is more than wood, metal, or glass. It is a mirror of your inner world. The way it is placed, the things it carries, the energy it holds. All of these reveal what is happening within you and around you. Have you ever noticed how some desks seem alive? Even when no one is sitting there, they carry an air of readiness, a sense of clarity, as though the work that happens there will flow smoothly. Others, in contrast, look heavy, burdened with piles of papers, old coffee cups, wires tangled like knots in thought. Just looking at them makes you feel tired. If the desk is a mirror, then it is no surprise that clarity on the desk reflects clarity in the mind, while clutter on the desk often echoes confusion and thought. Let me share a story. There was a young professional, Mira, who often complained that her work felt overwhelming. No matter how much she planned, her tasks seemed to multiply. Her deadlines felt impossible, and her mind rarely found peace. When I visited her office, I saw her desk covered in papers, sticky notes, books she hadn't opened in months, even broken pens and unused chargers. The desk was not only cluttered, it was suffocating. And in that clutter I could see her inner state. When we worked together to clear her desk, not just to make it neat, but to create space for flow, something shifted. She removed what was no longer useful, placed only what truly served her, and reoriented her chair so she faced toward an open window instead of a blank wall. Within days, her mind felt lighter. She said it was as if she could finally breathe at work, and soon, the quality of her output improved. Deadlines felt manageable, and opportunities that had been stalled began moving again. Vastu Shastra teaches that the desk is not just a piece of furniture but a platform of energy. Its position in the room, the direction you face while working, even what you place upon it, all have influence. Facing east can bring clarity and inspiration, while north can open channels of growth and prosperity. Facing south may feel heavy for long hours, and west, though supportive for reflection, is not always ideal for beginnings. Yet, beyond directions, the essence lies in intention. How you treat the surface, where your thoughts become reality. When your desk is overcrowded, your mind becomes scattered. When your desk is bare to the point of emptiness, your energy may feel dull. Balance is the key enough to inspire, but not so much that it overwhelms. A small plant can remind you of life's growth. A symbol of your vision can anchor your purpose. But broken items, unnecessary clutter, or objects that carry stress belong nowhere near your creative space. Think about your own desk now. What does it say about you? Is it filled with half-finished projects pulling your energy in 10 different directions? Does it carry reminders of stress rather than symbols of possibility? Or does it welcome you each morning with calm and focus, ready to support your day? If this reflection stirs something in you, pause for a moment. Perhaps, before you even move further into this book, you can make one small change. Clear a corner of your desk. Remove one object that no longer serves you. Place something there that uplifts your spirit. Then notice how you feel when you return tomorrow. Sometimes, transformation begins, not with grand gestures, but with a single shift in the space where your hands and heart meet each day. And if this thought resonates, if you can already sense how your desk mirrors your journey, share this realization with a friend or colleague. They too may be struggling in silence, not realizing that the desks they sit at for hours is quietly shaping their energy. Pass the message along, like, subscribe, and spread this wisdom. Positivity multiplies when it is shared, and the smallest change in one person's environment can ripple outward in ways you may never see. Your desk is not just furniture. It is your stage, your altar, your mirror. Treat it with the respect you would give your own dreams, for in many ways, it is the place where your future begins. Chapter 6. The Silent Guardians. Doors, windows, and entrances. Every space has guardians, though we rarely think of them as such. They do not speak, they do not move, but they decide what enters and what stays out. They are the doors and the windows, the silent openings that connect our private world to the larger universe. And though they appear simple, their placement, their condition, and the way we treat them can shape the very flow of our lives. Imagine walking through a doorway that opens into a bright, spacious hole. Instantly, your chest expands, your breath deepens, your spirit feels welcomed. Now picture entering a cramped office where the door is half blocked by a cabinet, the path narrow, the light dim. Before you even sit down, something within you contracts. You haven't spoken a word, yet already you feel the difference. This is the power of entrances. In Vastu Shastra, doors and windows are more than architectural features. They are considered the mouths of energy, the points where life force or prana enters a space. A main door is not just wood and hinges. It is the threshold through which prosperity, opportunity, and relationships cross into your world. If that threshold is blocked, broken, or poorly aligned, the energy that enters may be weakened or turned away. If it is open, clean, and welcoming, it becomes a channel for blessings. I once knew a businessman, Arjun, who worked tirelessly in his office, but often complained that clients rarely returned, deals slipped away, and his reputation felt stagnant. When I visited, I noticed something striking. His main office door opened directly against a wall, creating an immediate stop to incoming energy. It was as if opportunity entered, only to be pushed back before it could move further. We shifted the layout, clearing the entrance, adding light, and placing a gentle symbol of growth, a plant, in clear view. Within weeks, he noticed not only an improvement in mood, but also in the flow of business. Clients lingered longer, conversations turned positive, and projects began to move forward. Windows, too, hold their quiet influence. A room without windows may feel suffocating, as though the energy inside has grown stale. A window that welcomes morning sunlight feels fresh, vibrant, filled with possibility. When placed well, windows allow ideas to circulate, clarity to enter, and energy to renew itself. When neglected, when covered with heavy curtains or blocked with storage, they trap the spirit just as they trap the air. Think for a moment about your own entrances. How does it feel to walk through your front door each day? Does it greet you with openness, or does it press against you with clutter and resistance? When you enter your office, do you feel welcomed by light and space, or hemmed in by obstacles that whisper not enough room? These details matter more than we often admit. They shape our first impression of each day, setting the tone for what follows. And windows. When was the last time you opened one? Let the breeze carry away the heaviness. Allowed sunlight to cleanse not only the room but also your spirit. Sometimes the most powerful reset is as simple as drawing back the curtains and letting the world in. If these thoughts stir something in you, don't just nod and move on. Try it. Today, when you finish reading, walk to your main door. Notice how it feels. Look for signs of blockage, heaviness, or neglect. Then, take one small action. Clear the clutter. Polish the handle. Place a symbol of life near it. And when you feel the shift, however subtle, share that experience. Share it with your family, with your friends, with anyone who might benefit from remembering that doors and windows are more than wood and glass. If this wisdom resonates, stay connected. Like, subscribe, and pass it forward. The energy of positivity expands when we share it. Just as sunlight brightens not only one window but an entire room, doors and windows may not speak, but they shape our story. Treat them not as silent background pieces, but as guardians of the life you are building. For when they welcome energy and harmony, they welcome prosperity, clarity, and peace along with it. Chapter 7. Colors that speak. Have you ever walked into a room and felt instantly calm, as though the very walls were whispering peace into your heart? Or perhaps you've stepped into another space and felt restless, your eyes unsettled, your thoughts uneasy, though you couldn't explain why. More often than not, the difference lies not in the furniture or the size of the room, but in the color that surrounds you. Colors are not just decoration, they are silent voices that speak directly to our emotions, our focus, even our financial energy. Psychologists have long studied how colors influence mood. Blue can calm, red can energiza, yellow can spark creativity, green can soothe. Vastu Shastra, 2, recognized the subtle power of colors, teaching that each direction and element resonates with certain shades, and that when these are honored, harmony flows more easily. Consider the story of Kavita, a woman who had recently opened her boutique. She had taste, skill, and dedication. Yet whenever customers entered, they rarely lingered. Something about the space felt heavy. When I visited, I saw that she had painted the entire shop in a dull gray, believing it to be sophisticated and modern. Instead, it drained the life from the room. We introduced warm accents, soft yellows and touches of green, and suddenly the energy shifted. Customers stayed longer, conversations flowed, and sales began to rise. Nothing about her products had changed, but the colors had transformed the way people felt within her space. This is the essence of color energy. It enters your subconscious before you even realize it, shaping your state of mind. Imagine working long hours in a room of harsh, glaring red. At first, it might feel stimulating, but soon it turns into agitation, impatience, even conflict. Contrast that with a soft blue or green workspace, where focus deepens and the heart feels calmer. Neither is good nor bad in isolation. The secret lies in balance, in choosing colors that match the energy you wish to invite. In Vastu, directions and colors often walk hand in hand. The east, where the sun rises, harmonizes with shades of gold and light tones that carry freshness. The north, linked with growth and opportunity, favors greens that echo the vitality of nature. The south, a place of strength, resonates with grounding colors, earthy tones that remind us of roots. The west, a place of reflection, welcomes softer hues, the gentle shades of twilight. These associations are not strict rules, but gentle reminders that our spaces are reflections of the natural world. And when we mirror nature, we mirror harmony. Pause now and think of your own environment. What colors surround you as you work? Do they uplift your spirit, or do they quietly drain you? Are your walls bright but distracting, or dull to the point of lifelessness? Sometimes, even a small change. A curtain, a cushion, a painting, a plant can bring in the color your spirit needs most. And here is something simple you can try. Tomorrow, wear a color you rarely choose, but one that carries the energy you wish to feel. If you long for focus, try blue. If you seek energy, try red in a small accent. If you want calmness, let green accompany you. Notice how your day responds. The experiment is easy, but the awareness it awakens is profound. If this idea resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone. Encourage them to notice the colors in their own space, their own life. And if you wish to keep receiving these insights, like, subscribe, and spread this message. Just as colors ripple into mood, so does shared wisdom ripple into lives you may never meet. Remember, the walls that hold you are not silent. They speak in shades, in tones, in whispers of light. When chosen with care, they can tell a story of growth, harmony, and peace. When ignored, they may quietly echo confusion, stagnation, or unrest. The choice So ask yourself now, what story are your colors telling? Chapter 8. Objects that block. Objects that bless. Every object in your space tells a story. Some speak of hope, of dreams, of memories that still warm your heart. Others, though silent, carry the weight of unfinished tasks, broken promises, or energy that has grown stale. When you look around the room where you work or live, you are not only seeing objects, you are seeing reflections of your own energy, scattered in material form. Think about it. A cracked mug that you still use, though you no longer enjoy it, quietly whispers of compromise. A broken clock that hangs on the wall, frozen in time, sends a message to your subconscious that something in your life too is stuck. A pile of papers you plan to sort but never do becomes a small mountain of mental weight, reminding you daily of what remains unfinished. These are the objects that block, not because they are evil, but because they carry unresolved energy. I once visited the home office of a man named Raj. He was talented, hardworking, and deeply committed to his career. Yet he often felt that no matter how much he tried, progress slipped through his hands. His desk was neat enough, but his room told a different story. There was a broken chair in the corner, kept there just in case. A stack of old files lay untouched for years. A clock on the wall had stopped long ago. Each of these things was a silent anchor, pulling him backward. When we cleared them away, donating what could be used, discarding what could not, something remarkable happened. He told me that within weeks, he felt lighter, more focused, and unexpectedly, new projects began flowing in. Vastu Shastra emphasizes this truth. Clutter is not just physical, it is energetic. Each object in your environment vibrates with its own frequency, and when that frequency is unresolved, it affects you. Broken items, unused electronics, piles of neglected work. They are like dams in the river of your energy. They block what could otherwise flow smoothly into growth and opportunity. But just as some objects block, others bless. A family photo that brings you comfort can serve as an anchor of love. A fresh plant on your desk breathes life into your day, a symbol of your aspirations. Whether a small idol, a piece of art, or even a simple phrase written on paper can remind you of your deeper purpose. When placed with intention, these objects don't just decorate a room, they transform it into a sanctuary that supports your journey. Pause for a moment and look around you now. Which objects in your space feel heavy? Which ones lift you up? What are you holding on to just in case, though in truth it no longer serves you? And what could you bring in, even something as simple as a candle, a plant, or a meaningful symbol that would invite a sense of renewal? Here is a gentle experiment. Today, choose one object in your space that no longer belongs to your present life. Thank it and let it go. Then, choose one object that represents your vision for the future and place it where you see it often. Notice the difference in how your room feels, and more importantly, how you feel. If this thought resonates with you, don't keep it locked inside. Share it with someone who may also feel blocked without realizing why. Invite them to see how their environment mirrors their inner world. And if you wish to stay connected to these insights, like this message, subscribe for more, and share it forward. When you do, you are not only changing your own space, you are helping others transform theirs too. Remember, your room is never silent. Each object speaks. Each carries energy. When you clear away what blocks and invite what blesses, you align yourself with possibility. You create a space where success can breathe, where growth can flourish, and where positivity is not just an idea, but a living presence around you. So ask yourself now, quietly and honestly, which objects in your life are you ready to release? And which ones will you honor as blessings? Chapter 9. The Language of Light. Light is not just something we see. It is something we feel. Think of how your body responds when the morning sun spills through the window. Your shoulders relax. Your breath deepens. Your mood lifts, almost instantly. Now think of sitting in a dim room with harsh, flickering fluorescent bulbs overhead. Your eyes strain. Your energy fades. Your spirit quietly shrinks. This is the silent power of light, the language it speaks without words. In Vastu Shastra, light is considered the carrier of prana, the life force. Spaces that are well lit are seen as alive, inviting, supportive. Spaces that are dark, cluttered, or artificially brightened in ways that jar the senses are seen as draining. Light does not just help us see, it shapes the way we experience reality itself. I once visited the office of a young designer, Priya, who struggled with constant fatigue. She worked long hours but felt uninspired. Her creativity dulled. When I stepped into her space, I understood why. Her desk was pushed into a corner where sunlight never reached, and the only source of light was a single tube overhead, buzzing faintly. It was as if her ideas were trapped in shadow. We shifted her desk toward the window, drew back the heavy curtains, and allowed the sun to spill in. The difference was immediate. Within days, she wrote to me saying she felt a renewed flow of ideas, as though her creativity had awakened from sleep. This is the magic of natural light. Morning sunlight carries a freshness, a quiet promise that renews energy. Evening light, with its golden hues, softens the mind and prepares us for rest. When we align our work with these rhythms, we naturally find balance. Artificial light has its place too, but it must be chosen with care. Soft, warm lights can create a welcoming atmosphere, while harsh, cold lights may feel sterile and draining. Ask yourself now, how does the light in your space make you feel? Does it lift you up, or does it leave you weary? Do you open your windows to let the sun in, or have you grown used to working in shadows? Sometimes, even a simple act, moving your chair closer to the light, changing a bulb to a warmer tone, lighting a candle in the evening, can transform the way your mind and spirit respond. There is a reason ancient wisdom places fire, the source of light, among the sacred elements. It purifies, it energizes, it brings clarity. To ignore light in your space is to ignore one of the most powerful allies you have in creating positivity. Try this small practice today. When you wake in the morning, step outside or sit by a window, even if only for a few minutes. Let the first light of the day touch your face. Feel how it shifts your mood, how it whispers of beginnings. Later, when you work, notice whether your space feels alive with light or heavy with shadow, and adjust something. Even if it is as small as opening a curtain wider. These tiny shifts add up, creating an environment where positivity flows naturally. And as you reflect on this, remember, wisdom multiplies when shared. If the message of light resonates with you, like it, subscribe, and pass it forward. Someone in your circle may be struggling, not realizing that the very light around them could be shaping their energy. A simple reminder from you could become their turning point. Your space is speaking in light, whether soft or harsh, abundant or scarce. The question is, are you listening? For when you invite light with intention, you do not just brighten a room, you brighten your path, and perhaps even the paths of those who walk beside you. Chapter 10. The Dance of Air and Breath. Pause for a moment and take a deep breath. Inhale slowly. Feel the air filling your chest. Then exhale, letting it all go. Did you notice how even this simple act shifted something inside you? The rhythm of breath is not just life. It is balance. It is clarity. It is presence. And yet, in so many of the spaces we live and work, air is the most neglected element. In Vastu Shastra, air is not just a background condition. It is considered a vital force, one that carries freshness, clarity, and energy into every corner of a room. When air is free to circulate, the mind feels light, creativity flows, and growth becomes natural. But when air is trapped, when rooms grow stuffy or stale, the energy inside and inside us stagnates too. I once worked with a small startup team, brilliant young minds who gathered in a compact office. They had ambition, passion, and sleepless nights of effort, yet they confessed to feeling constantly drained. When I visited, I saw why. Their office had no windows that opened, no cross-ventilation. The air conditioning hummed all day, circulating the same heavy air again and again. It was no wonder their energy felt stuck. We introduced plants, adjusted the layout to allow more movement, and found ways to open even small passages for natural air. Within weeks, they reported feeling sharper, more focused, and surprisingly calmer. The same work, the same people, but a new rhythm of breath. Air is movement. Stagnant air mirrors stagnant energy. Flowing air mirrors possibility. When you open a window, you are not just letting oxygen in, you are inviting the outside world, the freshness of nature, into your inner space. Plants, too, become allies. In this dance, cleansing and renewing the air with quiet devotion, think now of your own space. When did you last open your windows wide and let the breeze sweep through? Do you pause in your day to simply breathe, deeply and fully? Or do you let your breath grow shallow, as if rushing through life? The answer often explains more about your energy than you realize. There is also a subtle connection between air and our thoughts. Just as air flows in currents, our minds flow in patterns. A room with stale air can breed stale thinking. A space where air moves freely invites fresh perspectives. This is why so many people report feeling their best ideas, arriving not at their desk, but when walking outside, when breathing freely under the open sky. So here is a practice to try. At least once a day, open your space to natural air, even if only for a few minutes. Let the breeze touch your skin, let it stir the curtains. Let it sweep away the heaviness that gathers unseen. And beyond the room, gift yourself moments to simply breathe deeply, to pause and reconnect with the most fundamental rhythm of life. If this resonates, don't keep it to yourself. Like, subscribe, and share this reminder with someone who might need it. There are countless people struggling with exhaustion and heaviness, never realizing that the air they breathe and the way it moves around them is quietly shaping their energy. By passing this along, you may be giving them more than advice. You may be giving them breath. The dance of air and breath is always around us, though we often forget to join it. But when we do, when we honor this invisible partner, we find not only clarity and vitality in our environment, we find renewal within ourselves. Chapter 11. The Power of Silence and Sound. Close your eyes for a moment and listen, not to my words, but to the sounds around you. Perhaps you hear the hum of a fan, the chatter of voices in the distance, the honking of traffic outside, or maybe the gentle rhythm of birdsong. Each of these sounds, whether harsh or soft, leaves an imprint on your energy. Sound is vibration, and vibration is energy. Just as light shapes how we see, sound shapes how we feel. In Vastu Shastra, sound is not considered separate from space. It is part of the environment's living fabric. The right sounds can uplift and inspire, while the wrong ones can drain and distract. Think of a time you tried to focus while a noisy street echoed outside your window. No matter how disciplined you were, part of your attention was pulled away, your thoughts scattered. Contrast this with sitting in a quiet garden where silence itself feels alive, where even the smallest sound, the rustle of leaves, the chirp of a bird, seems to carry meaning. In silence, the mind finds rest, and in harmonious sound, the spirit finds strength. I once worked with a corporate team that had recently renovated their office. The walls were painted beautifully, the furniture new, the layout thoughtful, yet the employees complained of restlessness. When I visited, I understood why. Their open floor design amplified every sound: footsteps, phone calls, machines, endless chatter. The energy was chaotic. We introduced sound-absorbing materials, soft instrumental music during working hours, and small spaces where silence was encouraged. The difference was profound. Productivity improved, stress levels dropped, and the overall mood became calmer. Silence itself is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of peace. When silence fills a space, it allows the mind to breathe. But continuous silence can also feel heavy, which is why sound, in the right measure, becomes a blessing. Gentle music, natural sounds, or even the repetition of sacred mantras create rhythms that align with the heart's beat, grounding and uplifting at once. Notice the sounds that dominate your space. Are they nurturing, or are they noise? Do they help you focus, or do they scatter your attention? Sometimes, the simple act of turning off a background distraction, a television, a buzzing device, a constant notification, can feel like lifting a burden from your mind. Other times, introducing the right sound, soft music, a soothing chant, or even the sound of flowing water, can bring the environment alive in harmony. Here is something you might try. Tomorrow, begin your workday with a few minutes of silence. Let your space settle. Let your thoughts arrive without interruption. Then, if you wish, introduce a sound that supports you. It could be soft music, a mantra, or the simple rhythm of your own breath. Notice how the rest of your day unfolds. If this reflection stirs something in you, don't let it stay only within. Share it. Invite others to pay attention to the sounds in their lives. And if you wish to keep receiving reminders like this, like, subscribe, and pass it forward. Sometimes, the gift of silence, or the gift of the right sound, can change not just one person's mood, but their entire path. Remember, your environment is always singing, whether in noise or in peace. The question is, does its song support your growth, or does it drown it out? When you choose silence with intention, when you invite harmonious sound, you align your space with the rhythm of life itself. Chapter 12. Plants and Nature Indoors. Have you ever noticed how your spirit softens when you step into a garden? How even a difficult day feels lighter when you sit beneath a tree or listen to the sound of leaves swaying in the wind? Nature has a way of reminding us that we are not separate from the world. We are part of it, always connected, always nourished by its rhythms. And when we bring pieces of that natural world into our homes and workplaces, we bring that same energy with us. Plants are not just decoration. They are living beings, silent companions who breathe life into the spaces they inhabit. They clean the air, yes, but beyond that, they bring vitality, growth, and calmness into our environment. Vastu Shastra teaches that plants are more than ornaments. They are carriers of prana, the life force, and their presence shifts the vibration of a room in subtle yet profound ways. I remember visiting a young entrepreneur named Sanvi. Her office was sleek, modern, filled with the latest furniture and gadgets. Yet she confessed to feeling restless, as though her mind was always racing but rarely settling. The office looked impressive, but it felt sterile, almost lifeless. We introduced a few indoor plants, a money plant near her desk, a bamboo shoot at the entrance, and a small flowering plant in the corner. The effect was immediate. She said that the room felt warmer, more welcoming. And over time, she noticed that her thoughts felt steadier, her focus deeper. Clients, too, commented on how fresh her office felt, though they couldn't quite explain why. This is the quiet magic of nature indoors. A money plant is believed to attract prosperity and harmony. Tulsi, sacred in Indian tradition, brings spiritual protection and vitality. Bamboo symbolizes growth and resilience. Even a simple flowering plant brings joy, reminding us of life's constant renewal. But beyond tradition and symbolism, plants speak to us in a universal language. Their green color soothes the eyes. Their presence humbles us, reminding us that growth takes patience, that life thrives when cared for. They need light, water, and attention, just as our dreams do. Take a moment now to think of your own space. Does it feel alive, or does it feel sterile? Is there something green within it, something that breathes with you? If not, perhaps it is time to invite nature back in. It doesn't have to be grand, even a small pot on your desk. A sprig of bamboo on a shelf or a hanging plant near the window can shift the atmosphere profoundly. Try this experiment. Place a small plant on your desk or near where you spend most of your working hours. Notice how often your eyes rest on it, how your breath softens when you see it, how it silently anchors you in the present moment. Then, over time, watch it grow. That growth becomes a living symbol of your own journey. Steady, patient, resilient. And if this reflection resonates with you, don't hold it close. Share it. Invite others to rediscover the healing presence of nature. Like, subscribe, and pass this message forward. In a world where we are surrounded by screens and machines, the reminder to bring even a small piece of nature into our lives can be transformative. You never know who might need it most. Remember, when you welcome plants and natural elements into your space, you are not just decorating a room. You are inviting life itself to dwell with you. You are grounding your work in the rhythms of nature, where growth is steady, balance is natural, and positivity flows like sunlight through leaves. So ask yourself, is your space breathing with you, or is it waiting for you to bring life back into it? Chapter 13. Symbols, Art, and Sacred Objects. Walk into any room, and your eyes will quickly fall upon the objects that speak the loudest. A painting on the wall, a statue in the corner, a framed quote, even a simple symbol etched into a design. You may not consciously pause to notice them, but your subconscious does. And in that silent recognition, your mood shifts, your thoughts bend, your energy is influenced. Symbols and art are not passive decorations. They are powerful messengers, speaking in a language that bypasses words. In Vastu Shastra, they are considered carriers of energy, reminders of intention, amplifiers of positivity when chosen with care. But when chosen without awareness, they can also trap you in cycles of heaviness, sadness, or stagnation. I once visited the home office of a man named Vikram, a thoughtful and hardworking professional. He had decorated his walls with abstract art, believing it to be sophisticated. Yet as I studied the paintings, I noticed something striking. One depicted a figure in despair, another a stormy scene, another a broken landscape. When I asked how he felt working there, he admitted he often felt restless, even anxious, though he couldn't explain why. His walls were silently feeding him messages of chaos and grief. We replaced them with artwork that reflected growth, balance, and serenity. Within months, he reported a noticeable difference in his mood and focus. His work began to flow with ease, as though his walls had finally begun supporting him instead of working against him. Sacred objects hold a similar power. A small idol, a symbol of faith, a family heirloom, blessed with love. These are not merely physical items. They are anchors, connecting you to deeper meaning, reminding you of values larger than daily struggles. A lamp lit in the morning, a sacred symbol placed near the entrance, a protective charm on a desk. Each becomes a beacon, subtly shaping the vibration of your environment. But not all symbols serve us. Just as broken objects carry stagnant energy, so do symbols that no longer align with our vision. A calendar from years past, an award from a chapter of life you have already outgrown, even a piece of art that feels heavy to your spirit. These things may quietly pull you back instead of lifting you forward. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, what symbols surround you? Do they reflect the life you are building, or the life you've already left behind? Do they inspire joy and growth, or do they whisper of struggle and loss? Here is a practice worth trying. Choose one wall, one shelf, or one corner of your space. Fill it with symbols that uplift you, a piece of art that brings peace, a photograph that reminds you of love, a sacred object that grounds your faith, a vision board that reflects your dreams. Then, notice how your energy responds each time your eyes fall upon it. That small corner becomes your anchor, your silent coach, reminding you of what matters most. And remember, wisdom grows when shared. If you find this reflection meaningful, share it with someone close to you. Like, subscribe, and pass this message forward. Someone in your circle may be living surrounded by symbols that drain their energy without realizing it. A single reminder from you may give them the courage to change what surrounds them. The objects and art in your environment are not silent. They speak to you daily, shaping the story you live. When you choose symbols with awareness, you choose the story of your own growth, peace, and prosperity. So ask yourself now, gently, what story are your walls telling? Chapter 14. The Flow of Movement and Space. Imagine walking into a room where everything feels cramped. The furniture is too close. The pathways are blocked. You have to twist and turn just to reach your chair. Now, picture stepping into a space where movement is effortless, where your eyes follow clear lines, where there is room to breathe and walk freely. The difference is immediate. One feels heavy, the other light. One makes you shrink, the other makes you expand. Space is not just emptiness, it is energy in its purest form. In Vastu Shastra, the flow of space, how rooms are arranged, how furniture is placed, how pathways open or close, is considered a reflection of the flow of life itself. When space is blocked, life feels blocked. When space flows, life flows too. I once visited the office of a small family business. Their staff was talented, their work ethic strong, yet they felt constantly overworked and underrewarded. The office itself was cluttered with cabinets, tables, and chairs that left barely enough room to move. Even the main entrance had a desk placed so awkwardly that clients had to squeeze past it to enter. The energy felt stuck, almost suffocating. We rearranged the furniture, clearing pathways, opening the entrance, creating space to move with ease. Within months, the team noticed a change. They still worked hard, but the heaviness had lifted. Clients, too, began commenting on how welcoming the office felt. The business slowly shifted from survival to growth. Movement shapes energy. When we flow easily through our spaces, our minds flow easily through challenges. When we constantly bump into obstacles, whether physical or energetic, our progress slows. Our patience wears thin, and even simple tasks feel harder. Think of your own space now. How do you move through it? Do you have to step around piles of things, push aside objects, or squeeze through narrow paths? Or does your environment give you freedom to move without friction? The way you move in your room is often the way you move in life. There's also a subtle truth here. Too much clutter, too much stuff. Crowds not just your space, but your spirit. We sometimes fill our rooms with things, believing they add comfort, but in reality, they weigh us down. An open space, however simple, allows energy to breathe, allows you to breathe. Here is something you can try today. Walk through your home or office slowly, as if you were visiting it for the first time. Notice where your movement feels easy and where it feels blocked. Then, choose one area to free. Move a chair, shift a table, clear a pile. Even the smallest adjustment can feel like opening a new pathway in your life. And when you feel that shift, when your space suddenly feels more alive, don't keep the realization to yourself. Share it with someone. Like, subscribe, and pass this message forward. Just as space opens energy, sharing opens possibility. You never know whose life might flow differently, because you encourage them to clear their path. Remember, space is not emptiness. Space is potential. It is the canvas on which your life unfolds. When you honor the flow of space, you honor the flow of your own journey. So ask yourself now, quietly, is your environment helping you move with ease, or is it silently slowing you down? Chapter 15. The Balance of the 5 Elements. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself standing in the heart of nature. Your feet are steady on the ground, rooted in the firmness of earth. You hear the sound of water flowing nearby, gentle yet powerful, carrying a rhythm of life. The warmth of fire flickers, bringing light and vitality. A breeze moves through the air, refreshing, carrying away heaviness. And around you, terra space, vast, open, endless, holding everything together. In that moment, you feel whole, because nature itself is whole. This is the essence of Vastu Shastra, the belief that balance in our environment comes from aligning these 5 elements. Earth gives stability, water gives flow, fire gives energy, air gives freshness, and space gives freedom. When one dominates or one is absent, imbalance creeps in. But when all are honored, harmony is created, and that harmony touches every part of our lives. I remember a young designer, Arav, who came to me with a simple but deep concern. He worked long hours but felt drained, uninspired, as though creativity was slipping through his fingers. His studio was beautifully furnished, but something felt off. As we explored the room had plenty of earth in its heavy furniture, and too much fire from bright, harsh lighting. But there was no water, no air circulation, and very little sense of space. It was stable, yes, but stagnant. We introduced a small water fountain, opened windows for fresh air, softened the lighting, and created open space in the center of the room. Within weeks, he reported a surge of new ideas, a lightness in his energy, and even better relationships with his clients. The balance of elements had restored his flow. Each element brings its own gift. The element of earth grounds us. It is the steady desk you work on, the solid walls that protect you. Without earth, we lose stability. But too much earth can make us feel stuck. Water invites movement and adaptability. A small bowl of water, an aquarium, even the presence of blue tones can calm the mind and encourage flow. but too much water can leave us feeling adrift, without direction. Fire gives vitality. It is light, inspiration, drive. A lamp, a candle. Even the colors of red or orange bring energy. Yet unchecked fire leads to burnout, impatience, and conflict. Air refreshes us. It carries new ideas. It cleanses. It keeps energy moving. Plants, windows, proper ventilation, all bring airs, vitality into our spaces. Without it, rooms grow stale, and so do we. And then, there is space, the silent, invisible container for everything else. It is the room to move, the openness to breathe, the freedom to expand. When space is respected, life feels spacious. When crowded, life feels cramped. Balance does not mean equal parts of each element. It means attunement. It means listening to what your environment lacks and gently introducing it, so the whole feels complete. Take a quiet moment now to reflect on your own environment. Do you feel grounded or stuck? Do you feel energized or burn out? Do you feel light or weighed down? These feelings often reveal which element is missing or in excess. Try introducing a small adjustment, a plant to bring air, a candle to bring fire, a water bowl to invite calm, a clearing of space to allow freedom. Then, notice how you feel in the days that follow. Harmon often whispers, but its effects ripple through everything. And if this reflection touches you, let it ripple further. Share it with someone who may need balance in their own space. Like, subscribe, and pass this wisdom forward. You may be surprised how even the smallest shift, a flower in water, a window opened, a lamp lit, can change not just a room but a life. Because in the end, your space is not separate from you. You are the earth that steadies, the water that flows, the fire that shines, the air that breathes, and the space that holds it all. When your environment honors all five, you are not just living in harmony with the room, you are living in harmony with the universe itself. So pause, gently, and ask yourself, which element is calling for balance in your life today? Chapter 16: Work-Life Harmony Through Space. Have you ever felt as though your work was following you everywhere, even into the quiet corners of your home? The laptop that sits open on the dining table, the paperwork that lingers on the nightstand, the constant buzzing of notifications little by little. The boundaries between work and life blur, and when they blur too much, peace begins to slip away. Work is important, yes. It gives us purpose, income, growth, but life, in its fullness, is more than work. It is laughter shared over meals, rest in the evening, the warmth of relationships, the stillness of solitude. When our spaces fail to honor this balance, we end up living in tension, always leaning toward one side, never resting in wholeness. I remember speaking with a woman named Neha, a corporate professional who worked from home. She confessed that she was exhausted, not because of her workload alone, but because she could never switch off. Her workspace was her bedroom, her desk pressed against the bed. The moment she woke up, her eyes fell on unfinished tasks. Even late at night, the glowing laptop reminded her of pending emails. She said it felt as though her job was sleeping beside her. Together, we created a small but sacred boundary. We moved her desk to a different corner, placed a screen divider between her bed and work area, and introduced calming artwork in the bedroom that had nothing to do with her profession. Within weeks, she reported that her sleep had deepened, her mornings felt lighter, and her mind grew clearer. She realized that physical boundaries create emotional ones. Work-life harmony is not about working less or ignoring responsibilities. It is about designing spaces that honor transitions. When you step into your workspace, let the environment energize you, focus you, draw out your best. And when you leave it, let your home cradle you, soothe you, restore your energy. One simple practice is this: never allow your workspace to spill unchecked into places of rest. If you work from home, designate even the smallest corner as your office. Keep your bed, your dining table, your sacred personal areas free from the clutter of tasks. Create rituals that mark the transition, perhaps lighting a lamp when work begins and extinguishing it when work ends, or playing gentle music in the evening that signals it is time to rest. These small acts tell your subconscious that work has its place and so does life. This harmony also affects relationships. When your space respects both work and rest, you can give your full presence to each. Your family does not feel as though you are always half-absent. Your own body does not feel as though it is always under pressure. Balance in space becomes balance in life. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, does your environment blur the line between work and life, or does it honor both with equal grace? And as always, if this reflection sparks something in you, share it, like, subscribe, and pass this message forward. There are so many people silently carrying the weight of imbalance, never realizing that the solution might be as simple as shifting a desk or drawing a boundary in their own home. Remember, your space is not just where you work or where you live. It is where your spirit finds rhythm. And when that rhythm respects both effort and ease, productivity and peace, you begin to live in harmony, not just with your work, but with yourself. So I ask you now, gently in your own space, is there room for both striving and resting, or has one taken over the other? Chapter 1:7, Light as the Language of Energy. Have you ever noticed how your mood shifts when you step into the sunlight? How suddenly the world feels brighter, not just outside, but inside you as well. And on the other hand, how heavy a day can feel when the sky is gray, or when you spend too long in a dim, enclosed room. Light is not just something we see. It is something we feel. It is energy. It is warmth. It is life itself. In Vastu Shastra, light is considered one of the purest forms of energy. Sunlight carries not just brightness, but prana, life force, nourishing everything it touches. Artificial light, too, has its role, though it can either uplift us or drain us, depending on how it is used. The way light enters and fills a space tells us much about the quality of energy that space will hold. I remember visiting an office that felt strangely dull, though the work there was creative and vibrant. The walls were painted well, the furniture was modern, but the windows were always shut, curtains drawn, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The team confessed that they often felt tired, uninspired, almost sluggish, even during the early hours of the day. We opened the windows, let naturally light flood in, and adjusted the lighting to warmer tones. Slowly, the atmosphere shifted. People smiled more. Their ideas came quicker. Even visitors remarked on the freshness of the place. Nothing had changed in their tasks, yet everything had changed in their energy. Sunlight has a way of reminding us of possibility. It warms the body, sharpens the mind, and connects us to the rhythm of nature. A workspace filled with natural light feels alive, while one deprived of it can feel closed and heavy. If possible, let your desk face the east or north, where the gentle morning or steady daylight enters. But even if direct sunlight is scarce, open your curtains often. Let the day in. Let yourself be reminded that the world outside is vast and alive. Artificial light, too, deserves attention. Harsh, glaring lights can agitate the mind, while dim, shadowy corners can weigh on the spirit. Balance is found in soft, warm lighting for rest, and gentle but clear lighting for focus. Even a small lamp, placed thoughtfully, can shift the energy of a room, reminding you of warmth, clarity, and direction. Take a moment now to reflect on your own space. Does it welcome light, or shut it out? Do you allow yourself to work in harmony with the day, or do you cover your windows, relying only on artificial glow? Notice how your body responds to light, how it wakes up with the sun, how it relaxes in softer tones. Try this experiment. For 1 week, begin your work by letting natural light enter your room. Even if it is only for a short while, allow the sun to touch your space, to touch you. Notice how your thoughts and energy shift. And in the evenings, as you wind down, switch to softer lights. Let your body know it is time to rest. You may find that light alone creates balance where you once felt chaos. And if this insight feels meaningful, do not keep it in shadow. Share it. Like, subscribe, and let this wisdom ripple out. Someone you know may be struggling with fatigue, never realizing that the solution could be as simple as opening a window or changing a bulb. Because light is more than brightness. It is the language of energy. It tells us when to rise, when to rest, when to dream. When we honor light, we honor the very rhythm of life itself. So I ask you, softly, Is your space speaking the language of light, or has it fallen silent in the shadows? Chapter 18. Sound, Silence, and Vibration. Have you ever paused to notice the soundtrack of your life? The hum of a fan, the ticking of a clock, the distant chatter from another room, or the gentle rhythm of your own breath. Sound surrounds us, whether we invite it or not, and it shapes us more deeply than we realize. In Vastu Shastra, sound is not just an experience of the ears. It is vibration, subtle waves of energy that move through space and through us. Certain sounds uplift, calm, and inspire. Others disturb, scatter, and weigh us down. The soundscape of your environment can either anchor your focus or erode your peace. I remember sitting with a young writer, Kavya, who struggled with concentration. Her desk was well lit, her room organized, yet her mind felt restless. As we spoke, I noticed the constant noise outside her window. Honking, construction, chaos. Her space, though beautiful, was drenched in restless vibration. We introduced simple changes. Heavier curtains to muffle the outside sounds. Soft instrumental music in the background. A small bell she rang before starting work to clear the energy. Soon she found that writing felt easier, her thoughts steadier. The sounds had shifted, and so had her focus. Silence, too, is a kind of sound. It is the absence of noise, the stillness, where our mind can hear its own rhythm. But many of us are afraid of silence, rushing to fill every moment with background chatter, television, music, constant notifications. Yet silence is sacred. It is in silence that clarity emerges, that intuition whispers, that peace breathes. Creating moments of silence in your environment, even a few minutes a day, can be profoundly healing. Music has its place as well. Gentle melodies, chants, or even the sound of flowing water can create a calming vibration. Uplifting rhythms can energize a workspace. The key is intention. Are the sounds in your space chosen, or are they imposed? Are they helping you align with your purpose, or distracting you from it? Consider this. Every sound leaves an imprint. Words spoken in anger linger in a room's vibration, just as laughter fills it with lightness. A bell rung in devotion, a mantra whispered in prayer, a song sung with joy. These are not fleeting. They weave into the very atmosphere of your environment. So pause for a moment and listen. What does your space sound like right now? Is it cluttered with noise? Or does it hum with calm? Does it carry silence? Or does it never stop buzzing? Try this simple practice. Before you begin your workday, ring a small bell, play a soft tune, or even sit in silence for a few breaths. Let that sound, or that silence, set the vibration of your space. Notice how your energy aligns differently when the soundscape is intentional, and if this reflection resonates, let the vibration ripple further. Like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may be struggling without realizing that the very sounds around them are shaping their state of mind. Because sound is not just heard, it is felt. It moves through walls, through bodies, through spirits. When you honor the sounds you allow into your space, and the silences you create, you honor the vibrations that guide your life. So I ask you now, what is the music of your space? And is it in tune with the life you wish to live? Chapter 19. The power of ritual and intention. Tell me, when was the last time you did something slowly, with full attention, without rushing to the next thing? Maybe it was lighting a candle, watering a plant, or simply taking a deep breath before starting your day. That quiet moment, simple as it was a ritual, a doorway between chaos and calm, between the outer world and your inner rhythm. Rituals have existed for as long as humanity itself. Every culture, every faith, every household has its own lighting. A lamp at dusk, saying grace before a meal, pausing in prayer before beginning work. These gestures may seem small, even ordinary, but their power lies not in their form, but in their intention. When done with presence, they transform space. They align energy. They remind us that every act, no matter how routine, can be sacred if done with awareness. In the language of Vastu Shastra, intention is energy. It flows through everything we do, shaping the vibration of our surroundings. You can cleanse a space, not just with incense or sage, but with gratitude, with mindful action. When you begin your workday by lighting a lamp, it is not merely to chase away darkness. It is to invite focus, clarity, and purpose. When you water a plant, it is not just maintenance. It is participation in life's ongoing cycle of giving and receiving. I once met a young couple, both entrepreneurs, who told me their mornings were chaotic. They'd wake up late, rush through breakfast, argue about schedules, and start their workday already drained. I suggested a simple ritual, 5 minutes of silence together before they began their day. They lit a candle, took 3 deep breaths, and spoke one intention aloud. Today, may we create with clarity and kindness. Weeks later, they shared how that single act changed the entire rhythm of their mornings. They felt calmer, more connected, more grounded. Their environment had not changed, but their energy within it had. Rituals don't have to be religious, nor do they need to be elaborate. They are about meaning. They can be as simple as opening the windows to greet the morning light, playing soft music as you clean your space, or placing your hand over your heart before an important call. These actions center you. They tell your mind and your surroundings that this moment matters. Try creating your own ritual. Choose something that feels authentic. Lighting, incense, journaling for a minute, saying thank you before leaving your workspace for the day. Do it consistently, not out of habit, but with gentle awareness. Over time, this ritual will anchor positivity in your space, like a steady heartbeat beneath the noise of everyday life. And when you discover the calm such a practice brings, share it, like, subscribe, and pass this reflection forward. Someone out there may be searching for peace without realizing that peace begins not in grand gestures, but in small, sacred moments repeated with love. Because ritual is rhythm, and rhythm is energy. When your day begins and ends with conscious acts of intention, your space remembers that energy. It holds it, amplifies it, reflects it back to you. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, what rituals fill your day? And what energy do they carry into your life? Chapter 20. The space within. Aligning inner and outer worlds. Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air move gently in and out. Right there is space, not around you, but within you. We spend so much of our lives arranging the world outside, moving furniture, choosing colors, seeking balance through Vastu and placement, and yet, all of it is only as powerful as the energy we hold inside. A calm space cannot calm a storming mind, but a peaceful heart can bring serenity even to the simplest of rooms. The outer world mirrors the inner. Every object, every light, every color you choose reflects a part of your inner state. The clutter you tolerate often reveals the thoughts you're avoiding. The openness of your windows reflects the openness of your heart. The warmth of your lighting reflects the warmth you allow yourself to feel. When you begin to see your space as a mirror of your spirit, you realize that changing one naturally transforms the other. I remember a client named Rohan, a driven young professional who lived in a modern apartment. Minimal, organized, perfectly arranged. Yet he confessed that he felt lost, restless, and unfulfilled. When I visited, I noticed that while everything was in order, it lacked warmth. There were no personal touches, no memories, no plants, no art that reflected him. It was a beautiful cage, but it was missing soul. Together, we began to infuse life back into the space. A family photograph on the desk, a small plant by the window, a lamp that cast a softer glow. Slowly, his restlessness eased. He said something I never forgot. It feels like I finally moved into my own life. You see, a truly positive space is one where the outer and inner worlds dance together. Where what surrounds you supports what you are becoming, not what you used to be. When your inner self feels aligned, even small spaces feel vast. When your heart is heavy, even grand spaces feel small. Vastu Shastra reminds us that harmony is not about perfection, but connection between the elements outside and the energy within. So as you continue this journey, remember that every time you rearrange your environment, you are rearranging your energy. Every time you clear clutter, you are releasing something internal. Every time you welcome light, you are allowing clarity into your mind. And every time you create beauty around you, you are honoring the beauty that lives inside you. This is the deeper invitation of this book, to see your surroundings, not just as rooms and walls, but as reflections of your own evolution. The goal isn't to chase constant positivity, but to nurture spaces that help you return to balance whenever life pulls you off center. Before you finish this chapter, I want you to try something simple. Sit quietly in your favorite corner. Perhaps your workspace, your living room, or even beside a window. Look around slowly. Ask yourself, what in this space truly reflects who I am now? What no longer belongs to the person I'm becoming? Whatever answer arises, honor it. Make one change, remove something, add something, or simply rearrange. That single act, done with awareness, will align your outer world with your inner truth. And if this journey has touched you, if you found even one moment of peace, one spark of inspiration, share it. Like, subscribe, and spread the message of creating positivity, not just through Vastu or placement, but through mindfulness and intention. You never know who might be waiting for this light to enter their own home, their own heart. Because in the end, the most powerful space is not the one you decorated, that's the one you inhabit within yourself. The place where calm meets courage, where gratitude meets growth. When that inner space is in harmony, every room you enter becomes radiant. Conclusion, the space within. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders relax, and feel the quiet that lives beneath the noise. Everything we've explored, the colors, the elements, the sounds, the symbols, all lead to one simple truth. That the most powerful Vastu, the most sacred alignment, is not just in your home, but in your heart. Your outer world mirrors your inner one. When you clear clutter, you release the past. When you invite sunlight, you awaken hope. When you choose calm colors, you soothe your own spirit. So as you look around your space now, ask gently, does this room reflect who I am becoming, or who I used to be? If something feels out of place, change it. If something feels heavy, release it. If something feels sacred, honor it. Because every time you shift your surroundings with awareness, you are shifting your energy, your focus, your life. And if this journey has touched your heart, if you found even one spark of peace, or one new way to breathe light into your life, share it. Pass it forward. Because when you spread positivity, you multiply it. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need a gentle reminder that peace isn't found. It's created. You don't have to move mountains to change your life. Sometimes, all it takes is moving a chair, opening a window, lighting a lamp with a love. Your space is your story. And every day, you get to write a new chapter. So take a deep breath, smile softly, and whisper to yourself, this is where peace begins.